Life on the road is not for everyone, and everyone lives it differently. This is Interviews with Touring Techs.
Well, my name is JB Beckstead. I started on the road in 2007 as a guitar tech with a band called Trick Pony. Then went on to work as a guitar tech and monitor engineer for an act named Heidi Newfield for 2 years. Then on to a band called Gloriana, where I was also a tech, guitar tech and monitor engineer. And then now I currently work for a band called the Band Perry as their monitor engineer.
How did you get into the music business, and what was your path to teching?
Honestly, I'd always loved music as a kid. My dad brought me up as listening to country music. When I decided I needed to actually have a job in life, I really took a liking to audio recording and such. So I went to school at the Conservatory for Recording Arts and Sciences in Tempe, Arizona. To finish that, there was a 180-hour internship that needed to be completed. So I thought, well, Nashville seemed like the most logical choice for me because I really don't like LA. And New York is really expensive, so I moved out to Nashville and got a internship at a place called Dark Horse Recording Studio, where I worked for about a year. And actually, a buddy of mine, Vito Carrena, who's a monitor engineer in town, I went to school with him, and he pretty much got me my first gig with Trick Pony. He was doing monitors for them, and they needed a guitar tech, so that was kind of my first into the music industry.
What kind of education, self or formal, have you sought out that you use being a tech?
Well, honestly, it's kind of the school of hard knocks. I mean, it sounds cliched, but you go to school for audio engineering, and it's a lot of just signal flow basics, rudimentary, fundamental stuff. Being a traveling tech or engineer, it kind of requires you to be good with a lot of people. So I think as a traveling person like that, the education that you receive is mainly, I don't want to say psychological, but you have to kind of make yourself be a people person if you're not already. So I mean, as far as that education goes, it's just sort of dealing with people on a daily basis, sociological, if you will.
Do you play any instruments? If so, which ones do you play, and for how long have you played?
I do. I play rhythm guitar, acoustic, electric, sing. I can, make my way around just about any instrument. I wouldn't say that I'm a player, but you set anything in front of me, I'll make some noise out of it.
What does it take in your eyes to be a good tech?
Well, a good working knowledge of the media in which you're teching, whether it be guitars. I mean, I wouldn't say you need to be a great guitar player, but you need to have a good working knowledge of that instrument. I'm an audio engineer, so you need to have a good fundamental knowledge of signal flow, and just a desire to want to do it, because it's a pretty harsh environment out there sometimes. You're away from home, and it's long hours, long days, and to be good at anything, you just have to want to do it. I think that's kind of the main aspect of that.
Would you consider yourself friends with any of the artists that you've worked for?
I wouldn't say friends. I would say friendly. I tend to have one of my strengths. One of my strengths is relating to people. So it's a very, very tight line to walk down, because it's your boss, and acts are very charismatic. And yes and no. I would consider myself friendly to them, and it's funny because usually once you stop working for an act is when you can kind of become friends with them, because there's no sort of work obligation there. It's like dealing with kind of a wild animal at that point. You never know what happens. Say management could come in and all of a sudden your job is lost, and okay, well, I thought we were friends. Well, it's a business, So yes, to the extent of which basically how do I say this? Okay, can be friends with an artist as well as any subordinate could be friends with their boss.
Are you married? Do you have a girlfriend or any kids?
I'm not married. I have a girlfriend of 2.5 years.
How do you juggle having a happy personal life and also enjoy being a touring tech or engineer?
Well, you kind of have to know how to juggle. It's rough, man. It's kind of like having your cake and eating it too. We have a really cool job. It's very kind of mysterious, and you're out on the road. You get to deal with famous people, and meet a lot of people, and doing what a lot of us went to school for and sought out to do, while your significant other is at home living the life, their life. So it's rough. I think the biggest key to that is communication and making sure that you are doing what you do for them, so that they know that you're not out just trying to get, and there are people who are out trying to get laid every night, and the whole infidelity thing. But I think the person who is treating this like a profession and like a job, it is that, and that's the main part of having a good home life, is letting your person who's at home know that it's a job and equating it to their job. It's just in a different venue, and you're in a different state, and it's hard being out on the road, and a lot of people don't see that either. It's like, oh, you get to go out and party. It's like, no, we're doing 16-hour days usually. So yeah, it sounds cliched, but communication, man. Just let them know that you're out there for them.
What do you do with your downtime when you're at home?
Sit on the couch and watch TV. As little as possible. Basically, being with a band like the band Perry, we've been extremely fortunate, extremely busy. So whenever you come home, it's 3 days maybe, and it kind of the honey-do list gets very overwhelming. So my personality is shut down and don't do any of it. So we bundle up on the couch and watch repeated episodes of 30 Rock. Maybe a little gym time here and there, who knows. Yeah, another thing I like to spend time on at home and on the road is a company of mine called Truck Stop Label. It's basically an apparel company that a buddy of mine and I created for the touring professional. We spend it's kind of a joke, but the truck stop is kind of your haven when you're on a long drive, and all of a sudden, here comes a truck stop, cool. So that's that was the basis behind Truck Stop Label. Is we really appreciate, and we both are touring professionals. So we wanted to create something that kind of brought them forward as Kenny's doing now, as you're doing now with this. That's another thing. I think it's important to have sort of an outlet, not on the road, because this work can really chew you up and spit you out if you let it. So I think being able to focus on something that you really believe in outside of the industry is really sort of therapeutic in a way too. So that's another thing that I like doing.
What advice would you give someone that wants to get into teching to do your job?
Well, the first thing I would say is, do you want to be an artist? And if they hesitated or had any sort of hesitation, I'd say don't do it, because I think there's a lot of that out there. People who want to be near the scenario, the situation of a lot of people on a stage, and if you can't see yourself being in the background for the rest of your working life, then I wouldn't do it. And just know that's exactly what you want to do. I guess the same with anything. You wouldn't go into law school knowing that you didn't want to be a lawyer. So I don't know. That's kind of the advice that I would, because you get lost in the glamour sometimes. The artist is up on stage getting all this applause, and it's an exciting environment, and you just have to know that your role is a support role, and the people who appreciate that will appreciate that, and that's the satisfaction that you need to take every night. is that you were one of the pillars that the show stood on, you know.
What do you love about being a touring tech?
Honestly, when you've done, you know, months of preparation and you've done a bunch of shows, and, you know, it's just like there's so many things that can go wrong in a live music situation, but when the preparation and the hard work comes together and the artist goes on stage, has a great show, comes off stage with a smile on their face, that's what I love about it, because you aided in them having a great show and portraying their creativity to the people who bought the tickets to that show. And I get a lot of satisfaction out of that. You know, it's a very fulfilling moment when the show is over and you're like, okay, cool, that's what we trained for. You know, I think that would be my best moment of the night, is right in the downbeat of the show when the lights come up and you're like, okay, cool, pat yourself on the back, good job.